I'm a retired NHS person who felt that retirement was an empty vista.
Welcome to the Bishop Stortford Community Podcast, the show where we shine a light on the incredible businesses, community leaders, and local legends shaping our town. I'm your host, James O'Donnell, and today we are joined by Siobhan Nundram. Siobhan, great to have you on the show.
Thank you very much. It's been a real honour to be asked.
You're very kind. You're very kind. It's great to have you on. For those of us who don't know you yet and what you do in Bishop Stortford, who are you and what do you do?
My name is Siobhan Nundram. I'm a retired NHS person who felt that retirement was an empty vista. And then I was made aware of this fledgling charity that was being set up for rape and sexual abuse. So our founding chair, Carolyn Marlowe, it was very much in its infancy when I got to know about it. And I joined the board in 2018 in August. And then, of course, we had COVID and we were told, we had just got the charity registered and we were told, if you haven't launched, don't launch. And that was the advice we were given at the start of COVID officially. So we put it in mothballs in the March. And by June, we were hearing absolute horror stories about people being locked in with their abusers, basically, and about women, mothers, actually offering themselves up for abuse to try and save the kids. And rape and sexual abuse is never, ever excusable or acceptable or anything else. But there are some mitigating factors around the pressures that people were put under during that period where, you know, men that were used to being out working and being the great I am suddenly were told there was no work, especially if they worked in the gig economy. There was no way for a long, long time of giving them any form of financial assistance. You know, debts were ratcheting up. They were more angry and, you know, they were locked in like caged tigers. They were getting an hour out for exercise during the day. And, you know, it's not acceptable, but you know, their anger and frustration boiled out over those nearest and dearest to them, and you know, there was an awful lot of damage done. In fact, the World Health Organization has coined it as the third worst pandemic ever. You know, there's been a lot of interest and hopefully it'll be sustained lately around domestic violence and sexual violence and its prevalence in the community. That's what we do. We provide recovery therapy services, treatment services for people, and we look to improve the systems that are already there. For example, the criminal justice system, if you want to pursue your perpetrator through the courts, the people's experiences going through those systems are just too awful to enumerate. We want to improve the understanding and the interventions that people are able to have to maximize their potentials for recovery. Because the more people are able to recover and leave the abuse behind, the more they're able to live their lives to the fullest and to benefit themselves, their families, communities, and the wider economy, because they're able to go back to work and they're able to do stuff. So, that's kind of what I am and what we do.
An incredible, important cause. It's a shame that it has to exist, but it does. What do you do locally, if anything, in Bishop Stortford to support?
Well, we're extremely busy actually in Bishop Stortford. It's the second largest referral area. Stevenage is way ahead, but we have our helpline, which is open every day of the year. It was open on Christmas Day, on New Year's Day. We have an incredible band of helpline volunteers and peer support volunteers. I just can't describe how awed I am by their goodness and kindness and empathy for the client group that we serve, but they go the extra mile every time they're on that helpline. We are just approaching treating our 900 clients. So we're a very, very small charity. And the fact that we, in sort of 5 years, have treated almost 900 people is quite staggering. Behind our helpline and the assistance the helpline volunteers give, we have a recovery therapy service, where people are seen by qualified, registered, experienced and trauma-informed therapists from a range of different professional backgrounds. So we know that one size doesn't fit all when it comes to recovery, and the clients themselves shape their own recovery plans, their own care plans, with the help of the helpline volunteers. The other thing about us that sets us apart from other rape and sexual abuse services and domestic violence services is that we're a wraparound service. So we meet the client where they're at, and we do and help them to do whatever it is that's necessary to clear away the extraneous problems for them so that they can focus on their recovery, because that gives them the highest chances of recovering fully and then going off to live their best lives.
So forgive me for misunderstanding. So other charities might offer the initial support or the care line, but the fact that you're offering something wraparound means that they just have one voice that they're talking to throughout that journey.
Yeah, that's quite correct. The other sort of difference is that we are prepared to get down in the trenches with them. So it doesn't matter if they're housing problems, financial problems, debt. Most of our clients, unfortunately, have financial problems. They may be in danger of losing their children as a result of acrimonious divorces and post-separation abuse. We assist them with going to court. Some people resort to offending to try and get money or to feed addictions or whatever. So we support them with that as well. Now, if they need specialist addiction services, we will refer them to Change, Grow, Live, which is the addiction service in this area, because they are the experts. But what we say to the clients are, because you are so addicted to the substance, or whether it's drink or whatever, you can't possibly feel the feelings and you're numb. So you need to deal with that first and then come back to us. We don't close their cases. We leave them open so that they know that they have somewhere to come to when they're ready to resume the journey of healing from the rape and sexual abuse. That's what we do.
Absolutely incredible. Before we jumped on the call, you also mentioned that you're actively involved in lobbying and in conversations with universities as well. Can you talk to that?
Yeah. So our lobbying is to improve the experience of people going through the criminal justice system and with their perpetrator. I mean, people have to wait 7 and 8 years to have their day in court. And I don't know if you know this, and most people don't. The courts which deal with rape and sexual abuse and domestic violence are the only courts in the country where the victim, and we have to call them victims because that's the only language they will use in this instance, the victim is allowed in as a witness. They don't have representation. They're not allowed to bring representation in. Yet the perpetrator can turn up all lawyered up with a barrister who then absolutely annihilates the client and calls them a liar and picks out any slight discrepancy in what they said. And if you were attacked 7 or 8 years ago, you're not going to be able to remember the exact colour of the shirt of the person who attacked you all that length ago, but you will remember what was done to you, and you will remember the smell of their aftershave, and you will remember, them holding you by the throat and the various other things that happened. But, the barristers are more interested in discrediting the victim than actually in getting the person off. And of course, once they start that narrative, everybody else buys in.
So you're lobbying to the government to change that process and make it fairer. Is that, I don't know if that's the right term.
A more level playing field, definitely. Because at the minute, you know that the barrister can actually, for the perpetrator, can actually request, and we have no choice but to release therapy notes. I mean, it's a travesty, absolute travesty.
Obviously, some reform needs to happen. Is that progressing?
It is. The Minister for Justice at the moment seems to have a bit of a handle on things, Rachel Reeves, and they are slowly waking up to the fact that there needs to be a lot of change, and there is talk about doing away with juries in rape and sexual abuse trials.
Well, it's good that there is some progress being made there. You also mentioned some work that you're doing with universities. Universities seems like a very important
Yes,
place for these kind of
because
conversations to happen?
so we participate in research. We currently have sort of really strong allies and ties with the University of Hertfordshire. That's the School of Law and Criminology that we work with them. But we also work very, very closely with UCL. That's where we get a lot of our helpline volunteers come from. They're MSc students, but we now work with Arden University and they have campuses all over the country. And we also work with Kingston University. So at the minute, we are starting a project with Kingston around the experiences of South Asian women who have been raped or sexually abused, because the sort of cultural differences in how people perceive rape and sexual abuse in these communities is quite different to ours. And the sort of veil of secrecy is that much thicker and harder to break through. So, yeah, we're working on that at the moment.
It sounds like there's lots of conversations happening. Hopefully awareness is improving so that as a society, as a community, we can support and be aware of this.
Absolutely.
If someone out there is concerned, or they want a conversation, or they need to report something, what's the best way for them to do that, Siobhan?
So if they want to report it and they want to follow their perpetrator through the criminal justice system, I would recommend that they contact the police. And then there's the Sexual Abuse Referral Centre, which is in Hemel Hempstead. It's the only one for Hertfordshire. And bear in mind that we look after West Essex as well. So they have a SARC in the deep south of the county. But we would say if they want just to recover themselves, which is perfectly appropriate and acceptable, then they call us. Our helpline is 01279 790 450, and they can contact us on enquiries at redkitesupport.org.uk. So those are direct routes into Red Kite. And there's two things really about that you should know. One is we don't keep a waiting list, so we don't have one. And ask any other service in the county. That's what's their waiting list like, and it'll be 3 months, 6 months, a year, maybe longer. We don't believe in them, so we don't have one. And the other thing that we do is that we respond to people within 24 hours. So we check inquiries at every day, and we also look at our telephony to see if we had any missed calls. So, people get responded to, they are treated with dignity and respect, and, we believe them. That's the most important thing you can do to anybody who discloses an abuse experience, is to believe that it happened.
Is there anything as a wider community that we can do to support?
Yes, there is. So you may have seen them out and about at various different things. We have the Friends of Red Kite, and they're our sort of forward-facing arm, if you like. So they're out at all the events, handing out leaflets, talking with the public, describing instances where people could or should have reacted and didn't. I think it was Aristotle said about great evil happening when 7 good men saw evil and looked away. And that's the thing. If you don't challenge misogyny when you see it in action, it will carry on, it will grow. We need to educate from the cradle upwards, not just our men. We're not saying that all men are rapists or all men are bad, or, we're not on a hate bashing sort of trail about this. But what we're saying is that because of patriarchy and misogyny and systems that have been in place for ions, that they kind of come naturally to people and they actually have to practice doing the other thing. But I believe firmly in equality. And if you treat everybody, irrespective of their sex, their gender, their religion, whether they're pregnant or not, it makes no difference. If you treat everybody with respect and dignity, then you're on a role really about giving people equality. And that's really what the members of the public should and can do.
Fantastic. I think you've made your case very well. I hope people out there can take on board what you've spoken about, support those that need support, and then think about their own actions and how they might impact that kind of wider community feel and calling out misogyny where they see it. Very big conversation.
Yes.
And I hope this might be an instigator for people out there to think about that.
Yeah, I agree.
In the day to day. Again, can you repeat those numbers and the website address, just in case anybody out there feels they might want to get in contact?
Yes. So the phone number for the helpline is 01279 790 450, and our direct line into Red Kite via the internet is enquiries at redkitesupport.org.
Okay, Siobhan, thank you for that. Are you ready for some Stortford Spotlight questions?
Go on, lay them on me.
Fantastic.
This episode is brought to you by It's a Wash Thing. They're a local home-based laundry service here in Bishop Stortford for busy families who just want one less thing to think about. Free pickup and delivery, eco and non-bio washes, and everything comes back clean, folded, and actually sorted properly. If laundry is one of those jobs that quietly drains your energy, It's a Wash Thing has you covered. Search It's a Wash Thing on Facebook or check the show notes. Right, back to the show.
Fantastic. These are 3 fast questions that we ask every guest that comes onto the Bishop Stortford Community podcast. First question. If you could put one sentence on a billboard in Jackson Square, what would it say and who needs to hear it the most?
I would say, stop raping women and children. And who needs to hear it the most is the people that are minded to do that. That's it.
A powerful message.
Sorry.
No, it's a powerful message. It's simple. Yeah, stop it. Question number 2. Where do you go in Bishop Stortford that you secretly hope never gets too popular?
Well, I live on the Havers estate, and, there's lots of lovely little cut-throughs, and there's the firs round there, and, I love to go out for a walk round my own locale and see any minute changes that's happening and how things are growing in gardens and that sort of thing. So nothing remarkable, but quite mundane, really. But it's my wee area.
That's what it's all about, isn't it? It's where you find peace and security, and where you go, and that's exactly what you need it to be. Fantastic. Yeah. Thank you, Siobhan.
Welcome.
And last question. Who's doing something special in Bishop Stortford that more people need to know about?
Who's doing something special? I mean, I think the churches are doing a lot more social work than people realise that they appreciate. Like, the Methodists are constantly opening their door to the wider community. They've got the Dementia Cafe there, and they've got various other groups running, and they're interdenominational. The Baptists with the exchange system that runs from there. I think in 2026, it's a poor indictment on us as a society that we're needing food banks and we're needing all of this. But we do. And we find at least one person a month who has been made homeless or their housing is threatened. And so we work closely with the local councils, with the homelessness teams and things like that, to get more stability in the roofs over people's heads. Because trust me, they cannot focus on recovering for rape or sexual abuse if they're not sure where their next meal's coming from and where they're going to be sleeping. So those are the sort of things that, the fact that there's the night shelter, these cold nights, those are the things that I think Stortford are doing well at as a community. And I would like to see greater sort of integration, of all the different bits and pieces, so that you can look at somebody and their needs and pick bits and pieces to make a really comprehensive care package that you can deliver quickly when they need it.
Yeah, it's been eye-opening for me since I've started the podcast to discover a lot of these services. And it's been a privilege to be able to shine a light on the work that they're doing. As I said right at the beginning, it's a shame that they have to exist at all.
Yes.
But it's good that there are people out there making the world a better place by spending time and energy on providing this kind of support. And hopefully by shining a light, more people become aware, more people can support. and just be aware that there are these issues that are happening in town, and there are people that are trying to support as much as they can.
Well, at the minute, we have two wonderful businesses who have made us their Charity of the Year. One is Stortford Fine Art Auctioneers, and the other is Knuckholes Solicitors. And when I did the briefing meeting with Knuckholes, there was 99 people on the call because of all their offices around. So they're amplifying our voice. And if we could get more people who want to come on board with us and help us with amplifying our voice, then I would say bring it on.
Wonderful. That's a great carrying call at the end there, Siobhan. That's a wrap. Let's repeat those numbers again and the website. If people want to reach out, get involved and support, or they need to come and report something, where should they go?
So we're ready to start training cohort 10 for Helpline volunteers at the end of February, beginning of March. That's at recruitment.redkitesupport.org.uk. Our helpline is 01279 790 450, and our enquiries line is enquiries@redkitesupport, all one word, .org.uk. And we will be looking out for a spike in calls following this. And thank you for the opportunity, James. I really, really appreciate it.
It's easy for me. I will put all the links to all of those in the show notes. They'll go out on social media, onto Facebook, onto Instagram, onto Nextdoor, onto LinkedIn, onto YouTube. So if anybody needs to access those they're going to be available. And Siobhan, thanks again. If people are out there and they want to support this show, leave a review, leave a like, hit a follow on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you're watching this, and share it on your socials. If maybe people aren't on social media or haven't come across the podcast before, let's share it with them as well, so they're aware of the work that Siobhan and Red Kite are doing. And if you've got a local legend, someone like Siobhan, who you think we should feature next, drop me a message, tag their names in the comments, and I can reach out and shine a light on the work that they are doing. Again, Siobhan, thank you for joining us today on the Bishop
Been my pleasure.
Podcast. Thank you, Siobhan.
Bye.
If you run a business built on trust, but your website's full of stock photos and silence, we need to talk. True Tone Testimonials helps coaches, consultants, and other service providers turn real client stories into high-converting video content. No scripts, no fluff, just honest words from real people who already love what you do. They're professionally filmed and ready to drop onto your site or into your socials. Head to truetonetestimonials.card.co. Let your clients do the selling. Okay, support local. Let's get back to the show.